Hello guys, welcome to the channel Talking with Jay Spring. On today's video on this journey to Spider-Man Far From Home. If you haven't seen the Spider-Man Far From Home non-spoiler review, it's on the channel. There'll be a link in the description, annotation at the end of the video and a card above my head. You can click on it, take you straight to that non-spoiler review which you guys can check out and hopefully enjoy. As well guys, this is the video for the ranking of all the Spider-Man movies, all 9 movies including Venom, Into the SpiderVerse, as well as the new Far From Home. You're not going to want to miss this one. Don't forget to leave your rankings down below, of course. Let's jump straight into it. Coming in at number 9, guys, it is the worst Spider-Man movie, in my opinion, of all time. It is Amazing Spider-Man 2. This got a 5 out of 10 rating from me, a bad movie rating, for a reason. This movie was completely jumbled with plot lines and story was all over the place. Too many villains that you didn't care about, the characters you didn't care about. Now, the cast in general, I felt very sorry for when it comes to this movie. Even in Amazing Spider-Man 1 as well, I felt like the cast wasn't at fault for none of them. The direction was terrible, the dialogue and the scripts were terrible, even some effects were quite bad in some of these movies, and I just felt very sorry for the cast I've mentioned. But this movie was absolutely terrible. It was all over the place and there was just things you just didn't care about, and this movie suffered a lot, and this by far is the worst movie. Number 8, guys, is a bit of a shocker for some people. This is Venom. Now, Venom got a 6.8, borderline good movie, just good in a way, near enough near the bad. But yeah, this got a higher rating than Spider-Man 3 and a higher rating than Amazing Spider-Man 2. But really, this movie, I just can't find myself to rewatch this movie a lot. Now, I think Tom Hardy done a great job, and this has some special things about this movie, but really, I suffer with this movie. I just can't get my head around it. When I even watch this movie to try and do the review, I struggle to get through it. I just don't know what it is. I think they really need to make a Venom movie or put Venom in a Spider-Man movie and get it right. I can really see Tom Hardy and Tom Holland on the screen. That would be an absolute blinder of a scene and an actual film. I absolutely can't wait. I hope they really make this character work at one point, but this movie just wasn't a good movie. At number 7, we have Spider-Man 3. Now, this is not a shock for most people. This would be probably at the bottom of your list or just above bottom. For me, the reason why this just edges Venom is because I really love Sam Raimi, and I see a lot of stuff in this movie. Even though it's a terrible movie to most people, it's still a borderline good movie for me. It's not terrible, but it's not too good. It's just borderline good for me, and I'd give that a 6.5 borderline good rating for that reason. I've watched this movie a lot more than Venom, and I will probably prefer to watch it a lot more than Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Venom as well. I just don't know what it is about this movie. There's something I like about it and there's stuff I hate about it. It's one of them type of movies. So Spider-Man 3 has good potential. It obviously flopped. There's so much things wrong with it. Again, like Amazing Spider-Man 2, too many villains. They should have focused on one solo villain, or maybe had 2 and done something good with the storyline and really just made that storyline a lot more interesting and the characters, and get rid of the whole Spider-Man dancing stuff. And this would just be a lot better for that Sam Raimi trilogy. At number 6, guys, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, this movie had so much potential. It didn't reach the heights of obviously Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. But this really had something going about it. Now, when I looked at this rating, I still feel like I give it a harsh rating. It is a good movie, of course, of 7. I really am looking to up this score, so I'm going to up it on this video for you guys so you can understand why. I look at this movie and I look at the rating I give Venom, and Venom I just struggle to watch. And if this is a 7 and Venom's a 6.8, I think this movie deserves a bit higher. Now, it's not going to go into them, obviously, totally awesome bracket, obviously 7.5 and above. But I'm going to give it a 7.3, which is just under. It boosts it up a little bit, because this movie still has a lot good about it when it comes to the story, the characters, the performances. There is stuff that lets this movie down still, but still, this is a good movie to watch. And out of all the ones underneath this definitely I would rewatch. Into that top 5 now, guys. At number 5, we have SpiderMan Homecoming. Now, I feel like this is a special movie because obviously we see Peter and Spider-Man in Civil War and Infinity War, but this done something different. This was his own movie finally, Spider-Man with Tom Holland in, and it was a special movie. I really did enjoy it. It was a fun movie. I think anywhere between a 7.7 and an 8 was really the rating for this. A totally awesome rating at that. This movie had a lot of fun things about it, introducing a cast and a lot of characters which we now love and want to see more of. Of course, as Tom Holland, especially as Spider-Man, we really get to see him get released off his chains instead of being held back. Like, not held back terribly, but like, we really get to see him really get in the spotlight and get what we want to see out of a Spider-Man movie. In this movie, we get a great villain in the Vulture, of course. We get a great cast behind Tom Holland, and this for all is really a fun movie. Not the best of movies, of course, but still a totally awesome movie which we'd rewatch over and over again. At number 4, guys, we have the new release of Spider-Man Far From Home. I give it a 8.3, totally awesome rating, again, for Tom Holland's movie. Now, this was a fun movie. I really did enjoy it when I went to watch it. I felt like this was definitely a better sequel than, obviously, The Amazing Spider-Man's done. I felt like it was definitely a better movie than Spider-Man 3, and Venom, and even the Amazing Spider-Man movie. And I do think it was better than Homecoming. I felt like this done something different. It was fresh for Tom Holland. I feel like even some of the side characters were a lot better in this movie. We obviously had Mysterio coming to the screen for the first time, which was great, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. We had a ton of great stuff. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, of course. This was a fun movie, and this deserved an 8.3 for sure. Anywhere between an 8 and an 8.3, I really think really marks its spot, really. Now, a lot of people will probably say I'm maybe underrating it because people actually go to the extent of saying this is the best movie. And a lot of people would say I'm actually overrating it, and actually would say, actually, you do need to chop that down. I don't think it's better than Homecoming or anything like that. But me personally, I enjoyed it a lot more than Homecoming. I would probably watch this movie a lot more than Homecoming. I think it done a lot more better in terms of its character depth and relationships that it had and the storyline. And also, the main thing for me was actually give stakes to the character of Spider-Man. We actually felt worried for the character. Obviously, Vulture was worrying, but really, we always felt Peter was going to come out on top. And I feel like in this movie, really got tested right to the end of this movie. Getting into that top 3 now, guys, this is where it starts to get a bit controversial. This is where it gets tougher as well. And at number 3, guys, it is Spider-Man 2. Now, wait, I gave this an 8.3, totally awesome rating, just like Spider-Man Far From Home. I enjoyed it as much as Spider-Man Far From Home. I would rewatch it as much as Spider-Man Far From Home. I feel like this beats Spider-Man Far From Home because how much I love the performers, the cast in this movie. It also introduces Doc Ock, really great as well. We get some iconic scenes in this, probably a lot more iconic than Spider-Man Far From Home scene, even though we get some great scenes in that movie. I really feel like this is a lot more likeable and enjoyable to me. I've watched this a lot more and I would continue to watch it a lot more. And I feel like this, I like the drama side of Spider-Man, and I think Tobey Maguire brings that, and obviously Sam Raimi brings that into his first 2 movies especially, and that's what pushes this just ahead of Far From Home. A great movie, very enjoyable, and some would even go to the extent of putting it at the top of their list or even at number 2, but for me, just under, because of my own personal reasons. At number 2, guys, we have Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse. Now, this got an 8.5, totally fucking awesome rating, because this was very, very surprising. Absolutely surprising to me, because I didn't expect it. Now, I'm a fan of animation. I've never been a top geek when it comes to animation. I love, like, obviously Toy Story, all the Pixar movies and stuff like that. But I mean, when it comes to superhero stuff, I watched a lot of it when I was younger. I never really watch a lot of it now. Now, I'll definitely watch Teen Titans if you'd ask me. I love Teen Titans as an anime and animation. I'll definitely watch that. But when it comes to other stuff, not really. And this, I was going into it, I was going, okay, it's going to be a good movie. I think everyone's overhyping this movie. I went into it. I've now watched it within a week. I've watched it 4 times. I've overwatched this probably. I've absolutely loved it every single time. The movie still shocks me every time I watch it. I absolutely love it. It's just a masterpiece. And I definitely need a sequel. I've never been so eager for a sequel. This more than Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm a lot more excited. I was excited to see Far From Home, but this, I need more. I need to see what they're going to do with this, because the opportunities are endless now with this franchise because of this movie. This done done something special for the Spider-Man franchise for sure. Introduces great characters with a great voice cast, and I'm just so happy for what this did, and I'm just so excited to see what they do with this more. This got an 8.5 rating for a great reason. It could have gone higher, it could have gone just a little bit lower, but for me I think an 8.5 really certifies its position in that top 3 for sure. Now, the best Spider-Man movie, in my opinion, of all time, at number 1, is Spider-Man, the 2002, directed by Sam Raimi, of course. This came out, I was born in 94, this came out a little while after, so I was quite young. I remember seeing this movie the first time ever, and I've watched this movie the most out of all these movies on this list. I will continue to watch it. When it comes to Spider-Man movies, I always start with this movie, and it's somehow always, when I've done this journey as well, once I got to the end and I watched Far From Home, I watch this movie again. I absolutely love this movie. I love Willem Dafoe as obviously the Green Goblin. He was absolutely special. I think he would be a master fit for the Joker. I think he's just a masterful actor. He brings something so different. And seeing Tobey Maguire play Spider-Man in a dramatic performance with that relationship with Uncle Ben, with his relationship with his Aunt May, with his relationship with obviously Harry and obviously Norman and all these people, MJ, it was just such a dramatic movie that brings something so special, and I love the origin story, and I think this is the best origin story we've got yet, obviously, of the Spider-Man, and I just really love this movie for everything. I just really do. I was so tempted to give this a 9 out of 10 when I actually gave it a rating. I could push this rating up. I probably would push this rating up if I'm honest. I gave it an 8.5, totally fucking awesome rating. I do think this movie just pushes above Spidey into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man into Spider-Verse. I'm going to push this up to an 8.7 because I really, really love this movie, guys. This is a personal favourite of mine through my childhood, through my teens and stuff. I absolutely love this movie, and I still to this date love this movie for what it brings. It may not be the best technically, it may not have the best of storylines, it may not have the best of the best when it comes to everything nowadays, when it comes to the Marvel Universe, but this movie was special to me, and I'm sure it's a lot of special to you guys as well. So guys, that is the ranking of the Spider-Man franchise, including Venom, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the new Far From Home, without spoilers. Don't forget to leave your rankings down below and let me know what you think of mine. Let's get into a great discussion down there. Please don't spoil the new Far From Home movie as well, guys. I want everybody going in there and enjoying that. Of course, if you want to see my review, there'll be a link in the description, annotation at the end of the video for a non-spoiler Far From Home review. I want you guys to go and check that and enjoy that as well. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this video, simply smash the thumbs up. Of course, let us know you're enjoying the content I'm giving you. It gets the video around for other people to enjoy. And if you're new, consider subscribing and hitting that bell for much, much more. As already mentioned, there's a bunch of stuff on the channel which you guys can enjoy when it comes to movies and TV series. We review, we rank, and we also react to trailers on the channel. As well as, guys, there's a bunch of stuff coming up which I don't want you guys to miss as well. So without further ado, guys, I've been me, you've been you, and I'll see you next time, guys, on Talking with Jay Springer.